Welcome to Law Chat with John and Amy. I'm Amy Poliaco. This week's question is, what is my Chapter 13 annual report? John's actually in back-to-back meetings today, so it'll just be me for this episode. But most people who are in a Chapter 13, especially if you are one of our clients, are getting your annual reports either this week or next week, so we wanted to get this out to you as soon as possible. So in a Chapter 13, as you remember, it's a repayment plan, which means you send money to the trustee every month, and then she or he distributes it to your creditors. And as part of their responsibility as trustee, they must submit an annual report, comes out every January, showing all of the transactions that have happened in your case, including the money that they've received from you and who they have sent it out to you. And they must send this to you every year. So if you're in a Chapter 13 in the Eastern District of Massachusetts, you should have received a report this week. If you didn't, and you're one of our clients, shoot me an email. I have a copy of everyone's reports that I'm going through. And it's really important that you read your report, because if there's an error, it's so much better to address it now than waiting till your case is done and then realizing the error. So I do encourage you all to read these carefully. And as such, I'm going to go through how you read the report to try and answer some of the most frequently asked questions I do get about them. So on your first page of your report, it's going to be pretty basic. It tells you your case number, your case name, all of that. A couple things I want you to know. Is your case confirmed or not? If it's confirmed, there'll be a confirmation date on it. And I'm going to separately classify into three categories. If your case was confirmed in 2021 or before, then that's great. You're probably not going to have a lot of issues with this report because the trustee has been paying these claims for over a year now, and hopefully any errors would have been caught by now. If your report has been confirmed in the last year, that's when you really want to look at every single claim very carefully, which I will do, but I also I want you to look at them carefully as well, to make sure that as the things got set up in the trustee's system, every creditor was set up correctly, that they're all getting paid the correct amount. And then if your case has not been confirmed yet, that means the judge has not approved your plan. It could just be because you're not in your plan enough time, or there's an ongoing objection to your plan, or we have recently filed an amended plan, so the time period just hasn't lapsed yet. And in that case, the trustee will not have sent payments out to any of your creditors yet, so your disbursements are pretty much going to show nothing has been paid out. On that top section on the first page, I also want you to look at the delinquency. That's going to show what the trustee thinks you were behind in terms of your plan payment at the end of last year. Hopefully everyone shows zero, but just to my quick review of the reports that I've kind of scrolled through, that's not the case. So a couple things to remember. It was as of December 31st, so if you had made a payment and you just hadn't received it yet, then that wouldn't have been credited yet. And, this isn't her filing a motion for relief, a motion to dismiss because you're late or anything. She's just letting you know, which is great. It gives you the opportunity to get caught up if you weren't aware you were behind. I'm going to just skip to the second page for a second. At the very top of the second page, the section called Receipts During Reporting Period, that shows every payment that the trustee has received from you. My hope is that it shows 12 payments, one for each month, and that would be great. If yours doesn't and you think you made a payment that month, then that's an issue. So shoot me an email with the either the TFS receipt or a copy of your money order receipt, and we'll get that addressed. That's very rare, but if it is a problem, let me know. And so that'll kind of show you if you are behind, when you got behind. So if you are behind, just try and, chip away at that amount, send a little bit more every month so that it doesn't continue to grow. And by the time you finish your case, you'll have gotten caught up. Back on the first page, the bottom half of the page shows a reconciliation of funds. So it shows the total amount that she has received from you, and then where she sent it out. I'm saying she because most of our clients this week are receiving their reports from Carolyn Bankruptcy, who is the Eastern Massachusetts Chapter 13 trustee. It'll show the principal that she's paid out, any attorney's fees to us, and what she's taken for her trustee fee. And at the end, it'll show what she has for cash on hand. If your case isn't confirmed, then pretty much everything you've sent in should be in funds on hand, because the only person she's allowed to pay until it's confirmed is herself. Okay. If you have any questions about that, again, shoot me an email. Next, on the second page is disbursements during the reporting period. This shows where she has sent your money for the last year. We're going to go column by column across this page. Claim number is first. It does not align with the proof of claim number, so that can be a little bit confusing. But if you are sending me an email because you have a question, just let me know what claim number, according to the trustee, you have a question about. Next is the creditor name / account number. And so this can be a little bit confusing sometimes, because you may have thought, hey, I owe Macy's money, but Macy's actually sold your debt and now it's portfolio recovery who has that debt, and they're the one who filed the claim, so it might be listed under that on your creditor name. A couple other things to note on the second line, sometimes it'll say something like WD, which means the claim has been withdrawn, so we want to make sure the trustee isn't paying any more on that claim. Or it could say split claim, and that happens, the most common time that happens is with the IRS. If you owe money to the IRS, part of your claim could be priority, and part of it could be general unsecured, generally the interest or any kind of fees or penalty. So the IRS could be listed twice, once with each kind of claim, and you'll see a note generally that it's a split claim. Other things that you can see on there where it will say AM, and that is an amended claim. And if that's the case, you want to just make sure that the trustee has updated the numbers to reflect the new amended claim. Okay, that's pretty much everything you're going to see in creditor name. Next is class. This is either priority, which would be your mortgage or car. Secured, which would be your mortgage or car. Priority, which would be your taxes. And then unsecured, which is your general credit cards, medical debt, personal loans. This is the class that is being treated as part of your plan. So depending on what section of your plan it is, that's where that class is determined. Next is the claim amount to be paid. That's the total amount the trustee is going to pay during the course of your bankruptcy. And I'm going to put a little asterisk here, and I'll come back to it on that. The next is the principal paid. So this will include how much she's paid in 2022, and then there'll be a slash, and it'll include how much she has paid in total. So if your case is from 2020, it's a couple of years worth of payments, so obviously the second number will be larger. The third column is interest paid. It's pretty rare to have interest paid during a Chapter 13, so pretty much everyone's going to have zeros for this whole column. And then the final column is remaining principal due. How much is left to be paid to that creditor during the course of your plan? Another couple things that do get some people will see in this column is something that says closed if that claim was withdrawn, or not filed if the claim was never filed, which means that all across the row for that person, it should say the claim amount that we had put on your schedules, but they're not actually getting paid out any of that because there's nothing left to get paid. And this is where I want to go back to the asterisk. If your plan is what we call a pot plan, that means that all of your unsecured creditors are paid from this pot. We say, instead of saying every single creditor is going to get 10% of what it's owed, we say, here's a pot of $5,000 and everyone's going to get their proportional share of it. So sometimes the claim amount to be showed, those amounts are the full total as opposed to whatever share that they're actually going to get. And it's just the way that the trustee has to input it into her system in order for it to do the calculation. So those reports are probably the most confusing. So if you have a report and you're looking at it and thinking these numbers are way too high, I don't know how we're possibly going to pay all of that back, based on my plan payment and how much time I have left, just shoot me an email and I can go over that with you. Again, if anyone has any questions about their reports this year, let me know. Otherwise, John will be back with me next time, and we look forward to chatting with you then. If you have a question or comment, feel free to email us at info@ulianlaw.com. Remember that Law Chats with John and Amy is intended as a general reference and considered general advertising, and listeners should check for changes to any applicable laws and consult with an attorney on any legal issue. The information provided does not constitute legal advice, and any thoughts or commentary by the podcasting lawyers is provided as a service to the community and does not constitute solicitation of legal advice. The lawyers in the law firm of Julian & Associates PC make no warranties and disclaim all liabilities for damages resulting from its use. Nothing provided in the podcast should be considered a substitute for advice from counsel. No attorney-client relationship is formed by listening or participating in this podcast, and in the event that the podcast receives emails about the subject matter, no attorney-client relationship is created via the email communication.